Up next on End of the Day Beer Review, we are going to be looking at Willetized. This is a coffee stout aged in rye oak barrels by Lagunitas. Check it out. Hi everybody, it's Rich and welcome to End of the Day Beer Review. And today we're looking at a beer that I didn't even remember I had in the fridge. It is called Willetized, and this is a coffee stout aged in rye oak barrels. And this was 2022 vintage. I don't see any date on the label. It says when it was, put in the actual bottle. But it comes in at 13.1% ABV. And again, this is by Lagunitas Brewing Company. I hope I'm not pronouncing that incorrectly. So here we have another high ABV stout. This particular one aged in a rye barrel as opposed to my normal bourbon barrel. So I'm sort of excited to see what this one's all about. Oh, there is a whiskey smell that just like poured out of this. That's really interesting. Okay, let's see what the pour looks like. I just cleaned the glass, had a little water in it. And this pours a very dark brown. I expected a little bit more black, a darker beer. This looks, it's definitely stout colored, but I don't know, I've seen brown ales that have had that type of coloration. And I did pour a little hard there. You can see there's sort of a two-tone head, a lighter khaki on top with a darker line right here, which is, I don't know if the camera's picking up. It's sort of interesting. I've never seen that before. And it's about 2 and a half fingers worth of head. Let's see the nose. Yeah, there's a lot of whiskey coming through this. But I'm also getting coffee. Definitely getting some vanilla in there, which I'm sort of surprised at. I don't normally associate vanilla with rye. In fact, I'm not really a huge rye fan. There's a very vague smokiness to it. But yeah, it's mostly the whiskey. Definitely the coffee. I'm getting a little vanilla, like I said, sort of at the tail end of it. And definitely a lot of smoke there. So let's see what it tastes like. Okay, so this is much more alcohol forward. It's not bad, that's not what I'm saying, but the alcohol is there. You taste it from, well, it's not that you taste it, you feel it the moment it hits the back of your throat until it goes down and sort of blooms in your stomach. So you can tell this is high ABV. I'm getting that roasted flavor, and I'm also getting that smoky flavor. So I'm getting sort of a mixture of the whiskey. I'm getting a, some of that coffee roastiness, some bitterness that comes along with it. The vanilla I got in the nose is gone. I don't get any of that in the actual taste. Yeah, this is more alcohol forward than I like. And a little harsher than I expected it to be, quite honestly. It's not a bad beer. It's just, to me, not as refined as some of the other barrel-aged offerings that I've had. Goose Island, which I admit I am, sort of biased towards Goose Island. When they make a stout, you don't get that alcohol burn right away. You don't get that harshness. It's much more mellow. Now, I'm not a rye fan, so it might be my distaste for rye that's sort of making me feel this way. But even now, there's sort of an interesting bitterness on the back of the tongue. It's not a bad beer, but I don't think this is a beer that I would hunt out. Not because it's bad, just because for my personal taste, I am not really a rye fan. This is a little bit more bitter than I like. The alcohol is really up front, which I don't really care for. the bloom of alcohol in my stomach is really, it's not really a bloom. It's sort of a little, you know, fire going down there. Again, not bad, just not exactly my taste. See, I would have liked to have tried this with someone else here, someone who is more of a rye fan, because I feel like that's what sort of, you know, colored my opinion on this. I will say this though, there is an unpleasant taste in the back of my mouth, and I'm not digging it at all. It's sort of a really harsh bitterness. And again, it might be that I'm not a rye whiskey person, that I'm more of a bourbon person. But this is, I don't think this is one of the barrel age that I'm going to go out and check out again. It's really sort of harsh in a lot of ways. So, you know, is it a bad beer? To me, yes. I'm not a big fan of this. And again, I don't give numeric ratings on the beers. But, you know, when you see this type of thing, you know, the stout aged in a barrel, I automatically think Goose Island. And you sort of forget how refined their process must be to get you the stout that you're looking for. This didn't have the mouthfeel for me. You know, the carbonation was fine. The flavor profile wasn't terrible, but again, wasn't my favorite type of flavor profile. And I'm finding a little bit of an unpleasant bitterness in the back of my tongue that is just hanging out there. So, you know, like, I'm not even sure if I'm going to finish this one, which is really a shame. I don't remember what I paid for it or where the beer came from, but I do know that this one is definitely not one for me. So have you tried Lagunitas' Woodshop series? You know, do they have a bourbon version of this? I'd like to, you know, give that a fair shot. This one is Willetized, and it is a coffee stout aged in rye oak barrels. For me, it's a miss. I would not look for this one again. I definitely wouldn't purchase it again unless, you know, someone told me it was radically different from the 2022 variety. It doesn't mean you won't like it. It just means that this is not my flavor profile. If it's out there and it's inexpensive, to me, it's always worth the try, even though sometimes the try doesn't work out exactly as you would like it to. Anyway, folks, I'm going to sit back and open a different beer, and I'm not going to drink this one. This one just didn't do it for me. And there's no point in, you know, spending all that time and effort drinking it when it's sort of weak for me. Anyway, folks, I'm going to sit back, open another beer. Thankfully, the fridge is here and stocked. And I will see you next time on End of the Day Beer Review. Cheers, but yeah, right. No, that's definitely not for me. That's getting dumped. I'll see you next time.